spring flowering? How's it going?
Oh, it's been a strong flowering. It's been wonderful. There's a lot of fruit setting out there, which means there has been nice warm weather. The bees have been working. Hardly any bumblebees this year, only because the honeybees are out there doing the job.
So how does that affect the bumblebees?
Oh, well, the bumblebees work in cold weather. They don't work in warm weather. So the honeybees are out there in the warm weather. I've been seeing bees in plantations and apple trees and what have you at about 7 in the morning going for it. So it's really good. And you can see the fruit setting well, and it's nice shape. You know, they're very small at the moment, but nice shape. So yeah, it's good. There'll be a lot of thinning going on, unfortunately, for the growers. But
yeah, it's a good sign.
Well, it is a good sign.
We sneaked through without any frosts.
Thus far.
Thus far.
I think when we get past the 9th or 10th of November, we can say, sure, we dodged that silver bullet. So, yeah, we have had spring frosts around the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th of November in the last 2 or 3 years. I don't think we're going to get them simply because we're getting a lot of wind and we're getting warmer evening temperatures. So it is getting cold, but it's not getting anywhere near freezing. What could be the bane going forward, potential hail in a real true El Nino year, which we have got, and or strong winds closer to harvest, which knocks fruit around on various crops. So let's hope the good Lord helps us this year.
Yeah, well, it's our turn, isn't it?
It is.
Are you worried about withholding periods?
Most certainly are. They're getting harder and harder as the technology increases in the labs and the MRL requests from international markets saying we want them lower and lower. Like we're talking now 0.02 milligrams per kilogram. I mean, that's minuscule, and they're going down to parts per billion and trillion now, not parts per million anymore. They haven't been for quite a while. So growers have got to be really, really super diligent in terms of what they're spraying, when they're spraying it, and if they are definitely allowed to spray it, because the international markets, it's just another trade barrier. Let's not get kidded around this. And I know we're opening up a lot of doors through TPPA and all the rest of it, which is really marvellous. But this is a true trade barrier, and if the market doesn't want the stuff, they'll soon tell you real quick.
As Trump said in his campaign trail, we don't want free trade, we want fair trade.
Yes, absolutely right. And I dare say in some cases that is the case, but in other cases it can be a bit tricky. And it's really amazing how really good fruit can get all the way to the destination and there'll be a fault in it of some sort. But actually it ends up still going on the market. I mean, we won't go there, but that's not fair trade.
No, it's not. How do they do that? They
don't expect Kiwis to jump on an aeroplane and go and chase it, but most do. We're not silly, and we've been there before. So a lot of key marketers, especially in fresh produce, that's probably got a use by date of 10 days or something like that. They'll follow their produce and all of a sudden just walk in on the market or wherever it may be traded and find that some of the things that have been said aren't true at all. And all of a sudden you have a cup of tea and the stuff goes out the door and you get paid. So, I mean, these things do happen. They don't happen all the time by a long way. I don't want you to get the wrong opinion. But there's not always fair trade.
There's a big difference between free and fair. So
yeah, correct.
Now, ag and hort societies.
Yeah, the Ag Science Agriculture and Horticulture Society had a conference in Lincoln last week, and it was a really interesting conference. And it's about the scientists getting together and sharing what they've done and how we can go forward. And it was specifically around Canterbury and the water that's coming on board. And everybody is fearing that, oh, crikey, we're going to have more dairying and there's going to be polluted rivers and all that sort of stuff. Well, not at all. There's some real good plans out there for an integration of horticultural crops, processing crops, agricultural, arable crops, and dairy to be in harmony with each other and maybe even within farms. So there's some good stuff came out of this conference, and I do believe in the longer term, now that we are going to get some of this water, the growers and farmers aren't going to throw it away. It's expensive for them. They want to maximise their opportunity. And I think as we improve our logistics, airports, harbours, Littleton Harbour, Timaru Harbour, it's all good stuff for Canterbury, very good stuff for Canterbury.
I always think of Opua, where the farmers fought tooth and nail. And as soon as the dam was there, full of salmon, boating, wonderful times, always had river water, not a word was said.
Look, Rob, over the years, right back to in the 50s when Ben Moore and that scheme the Waitaki scheme was going on. I mean, we had opposition. I was going to do this and what I wasn't going to do. It's all been wonderful, one for farming and two for recreation. So I think they do live in harmony, and going forward, this is exactly what will come out of the Central Plains scheme and the Hurunuri one when that gets underway. It's going to be really good. There's some really growth potential there for some specialist crop. We're a small nation, and we can't satisfy huge big markets, but we can satisfy niche markets and make some money out of it, and that's what the game's all about, really.
We just don't do commodity, do we?
No, we don't do commodity, we don't do it well. I mean, dairy at the moment is an example of that. No disrespect to dairy, but at the moment, you put either milk, liquid milk, or powder out of the international market, and you're not going to get a hell of a lot for it. Put a specialist infant powder or whatever it may be, you start to get some money back. And this is where New Zealand is heading. We are very good at producing specialist crops, and maybe continue to be so. And in Canterbury, I mean, people say to me, I've been working with horticulture in Canterbury now for 30 years, believe it or not.
I was going to say mumble years.
Yeah, mumble years, and hence the grey hair. But, you know, there's a lot more horticulture out there than people understand or visually see. You know, there's 8,000 processing crops out there, hectares of processing crops alone. You know, people see the odd cabbage and see the odd carrot or potato on the way past, and they think, oh yeah, that's good. But there's actually acres and acres of it. And if we can start to really, and I know arable far are working hard, the other industries are working hard to have this harmony and have a mixed and profitable cropping and production going forward. So it's very good.
So do you see an expansion?
I do see an expansion in specialist crops and specialist, you know, sheep and beef. What they do with that product and the dairying going forward. I think that's where New Zealand has to go, and it's going to be a slow evolution, but in time. But if there's one province that is really set up to do that going forward, is certainly Canterbury, with the amount of water we are going to have and we are going to be able to utilise. We're going to have to harvest it, of course. You can extract it and put it down in canals, but you've got to actually harvest it, because we want it when we want it, not out in the sea. And yes, the rivers will change, but in time, usually those rivers come back. And I know we have got a lot of polluted rivers out there at the moment, which is a shame. But everybody's thinking about how the heck do we fix them, rather than, oh, it's too big a problem, let's just move on. So the whole cycle has changed. Oh, it's good.
Is it going to be produce that's exported by aeroplane, or is it going to be seed?
It's going to be a lot of both. There's certainly going to be a lot more capacity. Look, we can get a fresh lettuce out of say mid-Canterbury today on a Monday, and that can be eaten on a Tuesday afternoon or a Wednesday at the latest in Dubai or Saudi Arabia. Now, fresh, just like you buy it out of your supermarket. In fact, it's probably fresh.
I was just going to say, it's probably fresher.
So the logistics are there, the systems are there to put these things in place, and sure, there will be greater things shipped too. And of course, that technology is moving very fast too. So it's pretty exciting times, Rob.
It is exciting, and we're right there at the forefront.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much indeed.